I lived in Milwaukee, and I was newly single with 2 little kids. And one day the Milwaukee Journal, the local newspaper, had a headline. There was this church that was teaching sex education to its children, and it was like a big scandal. I read that headline and said, I'm gonna go check those folks out. So I did.
My very first visit to UUS was a summer service. It was in the summer of 2012. And I remember it well because the Yahoo Drummers group was leading the service. So while we did have readings from Emma Goldman, I also remember hearing the drummers in that celebration. That was in the basement of Channing Hall. So there was plenty of resonance from the drummers, and I just thought that was such an interesting way to lead people in joy and to lead people in appreciating the music that the drummers had done.
I think the things that I remember the most weren't the first couple visits, but were some of the welcoming orientation, joining the community meetings where we got to know some of the people and made some lifelong friends who are still lifelong friends of ours who were part of that same intake class.
I remember running through the upstairs part where it was the actual full-on church service part, and I remember me and some of the other kids would just be running around and playing hide and seek in there afterwards. It was so much fun.
I am incredibly proud and honored to be a part of the Greenest Church in Iowa, to have helped the movement that brought us here and the whole process of finding a place and building this incredible building. I'm so proud of it, and I'm proud of us for doing it.
It has taken a lot of different people's work, from the committee that helped put together our memorial gardens, from the Building and Grounds Committee, which have really developed wonderful solutions for the plantings we can have on the grounds, and for the bioswales, and also for bringing everyone together.
There's just a bunch of forest and nature that you can go through. The RE wing is accessible, and it's got a bunch of different options for whatever age you are.
I really love the sanctuary, and of course the main room where we have our services, and of course some of that's just because of the beautiful view we have outside our windows. And I can really treasure that because at every time of year we have a beautiful view. So in the middle of winter it can be -20 outside, and yet we can still look out at the pine trees, and then we can see the changes through spring. So I think just being able to sit and meditate on the changes in nature is the most inspiring part.
I honestly kind of think that my favorite room in the building is the one that's kind of out this window behind me. There's a little path that goes by the side of the building and kind of arcs back behind the pulpit and the big windows where the band and the choir are. And it's very shady, and there's some stuff back there for kids to play on because it's just past the RE wing. And I love the fact that we have that here and that it is so close to where worship happens.
The part of UUism that speaks to me the most, that brought me here and keeps me here, is the encouragement and freedom to find your own spiritual path, and you're supported in that. We're expected to do that on our own, to follow one's own spiritual journey and support one another in that endeavor.
I like the fact that it emphasizes how to be in the world, how to live in the world, rather than the state of my soul or needing to believe make myself believe some things that I don't necessarily believe.
I definitely like the equity, generosity, and justice, because with equity, I believe that everybody deserves to have their needs met and be able to have whatever they need. Justice, because sometimes the system is corrupt, and generosity because just a little bit of kindness could go a long way.
I have to say all the UU principles are my favorite, but if I had to pick one, it would be to honor the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, because that speaks to me of the oneness of everything.
Interdependence really relies on us to look to each other for help and for support, and it gives us the ability to work together in a group with using each other's strengths without totally relying on our own individual qualities.
You know, they all do kind of interweave to me, but I would say the inherent worth and dignity of every person. I'm guessing that's probably a pretty popular one among our group here. I also think that it is one of the more difficult things to do, seeing the inherent worth and dignity in people we disagree with.
I like the second principle the most because justice, equity, and compassion in human relations is something that is very much needed throughout this world.
The emphasis really is on the people, and I love the fact that UUS considers itself a community. We do have people who are members, but pretty quickly community includes people who are not members.
I've had the privilege of being temporary secretary on the board. I've also worked on the membership associates teams and the social justice teams, and wonderful to see how different creative ideas can be applied to help engage members and to make events for the society which can bring in people as well as members, but people from the wider community.
The UU community are people who come to the services, or people who claim to be UU, or anybody who shows an interest. And then there is a wider community outside of that that we find important, and participate in the free lunch program, and participate in supporting the free medical and dental clinics and things in the community that are important. So I'm proud of that for us, and I really like being part of that.
We're not just free, but encouraged to be on our own personal spiritual path, as long as it adheres to our shared values and our covenant. And I value that very highly.
You can come in here and just feel welcome almost immediately. You're always meeting new people, and it's a very good place where you can feel safe, be able to feel like you can be yourself without being judged.
You show that you are a UU by how you act in the world and what choices you make, and I like that a lot.
We're part of everything.